Bulavinaka, and welcome to another segment of Speak Your Mind. I'm your host, Serafina Wedlock. Now, this week we'll see the launch of a new film called Giving Life. Now, this movie is actually focused on, or the message behind the movie is the White Ribbon or Safe Motherhood Initiative, which is, of course, chaired by the Dean of the Fiji School of Medicine, Professor Ian Rouse. And this is also supported closely by his wife, who is not here with us, but also here to talk on her behalf is, of course, Mrs. Alumita Bulidhokodhoko. Bulavinaka, Professor Rouse, and Bulavinaka Alumita, thank you for joining us on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Seraphine.
All right. Well, first of all, give us a little overview of what the White Ribbon Initiative is all about, the Safe Motherhood campaign.
Okay, the Safe Motherhood campaign, Fiji White Ribbon Safe Motherhood Initiative, commenced in 2010, and we ran pretty actively for a couple of years, and then we had a bit of a lull whilst we were getting approval to set up the NGO and so on. That's all sorted now, and the Constitution's done. And so we're ready to kick off 2014 with a lot more excitement in terms of what we think is important in terms of safe motherhood. And of course, we're all moving towards 2015 and the end of the Millennium Development Goals, one of which is about improving maternal health, reducing maternal mortality. So fundamentally, a very simple message. The organisation that we're part of hopes that no woman will die unnecessarily in pregnancy and childbirth in Fiji. And our view, every woman who dies in pregnancy and childbirth is a significant loss to her husband, to the family, to the whole village. So that's in simplicity what our message is about. And connected to that, there are a range of different themes.
That's right.
We started off a few years ago looking at making sure women who were pregnant booked early, went and got checked, and then we had a bit of a theme on recognising danger signs. And then as an organisation, we thought, well, the next thing we need to do is to focus on young women, preventing teenage pregnancy and encouraging. So it's a pretty simple message. It's an international organisation, the White Ribbon Alliance, and the simple message is, as I said, that no woman should die unnecessarily in pregnancy and childbirth. And I guess if we summarise where we are at the moment, and if you'll see with the Giving Life film, I would also like this year to focus on a more positive, rather than deaths. It's why don't we value and love every person, every woman who's pregnant? Because I think if you just looked at it in that sense, it's got so many positive messages that we need to
That's so true. That's so true. Now, Mrs. Bulidhokodhoko, I believe you're a retired midwife. What can you say about the current practice of safe motherhood in the country before the initiative took over?
Thank you. The midwives are the ones that are really doing a lot of work in regards to safe motherhood. But then, we are limited. There are a shortage of midwives in the country, but they are trying to do their best to look at the roles of a midwives in regards to safe motherhood. But I don't think that we are really achieving what it's supposed to be achieved in a year. Like just last year, we've heard that there are about 40 maternal deaths, which is too much for a country like ours in comparison to the childbearing age population that we have. So no woman should die as alluded by the Dean. No woman should die during childbirth or pregnancy.
So the Safe Motherhood Initiative is both collaborated with the midwives as well as the nurses or those involved in reproductive health?
Absolutely. If you look at the members of the interim steering committee for the organisation, it's clearly got a lot of midwives. Alamitas on the committee. Aliotti, Sister Aliotti is the head of midwifery section at CWM is involved. So lots of midwives. I agree completely with Alamita, and I've continued to say that the critical workforce in terms of improving safe motherhood is really the midwives, or probably nurses, and then midwives. We don't have enough obstetricians, and we really need to rely on them when there are problems that occur. But midwives are critically important, and we need to train more. But certainly they are very much an important part. Now, I can also say that the Fiji Midwifery Association is a strong supporter of the White Ribbon Safe Motherhood campaign.
So since its implementation until now, have there been an improvement in the births and also the reproductive health of the hospitals since the implementation of the White Ribbon Initiative?
Perhaps Alamita might like to add, but I'll just start off by saying I'd say no. It hasn't improved. It
Hasn't.
certainly hasn't improved to the extent that I would like
Exactly.
as a person who's involved in safe motherhood. Elamita just mentioned the number of deaths that were last year.
So
If-
it
if-
continues to increase, or has it at least decreased a bit?
Well, if you look at the number of deaths, it's a relatively small number in the population,
Okay.
but it's actually, I think, an increase in maternal mortality when we should be going down.
Going down, yeah.
And then there's Alamita would know better than I. She's a midwife. Underneath that, there's a lot of near misses, and there's a lot of children who
Yes,
die, and there's a
certainly.
lot of sadness that's created. So you might want to add to
Yeah,
that,
and
Alamita.
Yes, certainly. Like I had alluded to, no woman should die. But then with the limited number that we have, we cannot really give the services that we expect of us.
Right.
But I know that CWM alone should be delivering just 300 to 400 in a month. But last year, almost, baby boom at the hospital,
Yeah,
like
of course.
800 to 900 deliveries in a
Month.
month. And just imagine to be delivered by 3 or 4 midwives in the shift who will deliver 24 deliveries. I think it is something that we really need to look at.
Exactly.
What can we do? But otherwise, there are a lot of midwives, but the midwives are going away to other countries that they tend to think that they have been appreciated with the work that they do in relation to their salary or the remuneration.
Exactly.
So they are going away, even to Pacific Island countries and to Dubai and to New Zealand and Australia. So the limited that we have are the ones that they think they will continue to work for their country.
Exactly. Now, I believe from past experiences, also talking to some fellow mothers, that the services have improved, though, from the past until since the initiative took place in 2010, the services have improved as opposed to the antenatal clinics, postnatal clinics. So it is growing. I mean, for now.
I'm sure the service has improved. I wish we could say that the Fiji White Ribbon Safe Motherhood Initiative had been the stimulus for that.
Yep,
But clearly,
yep.
the Ministry of Health sees this as an important issue, and they're on the process of trying to improve services, level of training, and so on. So I guess if we can all work together, and that's another key. I think that's another key part of the Safe
Yes.
Motherhood Initiative is everybody needs to work together.
Do their
I mean,
parts,
the university,
yeah.
the ministry, the villages.
mothers.
Families, the mothers, their husbands,
Exactly.
everyone needs to work together. But I'd also say, for example, our first key message, if we go back to 2010, was getting every pregnant woman to go and get checked.
Right.
Go to a midwife, go to a doctor. Unfortunately, we still have women turning up to deliver who've never been to see
I
someone.
know. And
Yeah.
eight or 9 months towards
Yeah.
into the pregnancy. But yes, we'll be talking more about this. Do stay with us. You're on Speak Your Mind. If you have questions for our guests, feel free to call us up 3220-906 or 907. Until then, we'll be back with more. This is Speak Your Mind. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind, and once again we're in studio with our guest today, Professor Dean Rouse, and we've also got Professor Dean Ian Rouse, and we've also got Mrs. Alumita Mbulithokodhoko. Now, Mr. Rouse, we're talking about the White Ribbon Initiative. Now, since it's implemented, like I said, like you said, it's teamwork. Everyone just needs to start doing what they need to do in order to, to reach our goals. Now, what is the goal, or what is the mission statement for the White Ribbon Initiative?
As I said, it's pretty simple in the sense that ideally, we want no woman to die unnecessarily in pregnancy and childbirth. And I think we're realistic, however. I mean, in a country like Fiji or in the Pacific Islands where there's some people live in very remote places, you might actually have death. I suppose the key message is that pregnancy and childbirth is a natural part of life, and virtually everybody should deliver
That's
naturally and without any problems. And that's the case. And I
Exactly.
suppose one of the things of the White Ribbon Initiative is to try and also promote the idea that it is a wonderful part of life. Childbirth is a wonderful. I mean, Fijian society, the families are very strong.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
love children.
Yeah.
And so you would think about, wow, why don't we actually look after, if I could just say this, another passion of mine, why don't we look after young women who
Exactly.
are pregnant better
Yeah.
than we do? that means everyone's got to look after them. But so I suppose I was reflecting on my comment earlier. I think maybe we have improved, but maybe I'm tough in the sense that I'd like it to be better.
Better,
I
exactly.
think it needs to get better. As a dean, I'm certainly thinking about how can I improve the training for nurses and doctors so that they are better generally in
That's true.
sexual and reproductive health.
Mrs. Bulidokdoko, what are your thoughts on this?
Thank you. I'm also coordinating a training at the university, which is called the Sexual Reproductive Health Management.
Right.
And this is, we're getting back the nurses that are working out there in the community,
Yeah.
in Fiji and also in the Pacific Island countries. And I see this is one avenue of trying to get the services to the community. We don't want to wait in the hospital. We are teaching everybody, go out there and see all the childbearing community, make sure that you know all those that are pregnant, advise them to come or you see them
Yeah.
so that they can be attended to early and be advised accordingly. Like the dean had said, there are danger signs in pregnancy,
Yeah.
and that need to be taught amongst all our childbearing communities so that when they have any of those danger signs, they should know where to go, when to go, and how to go there. And I think the university is also trying to help. And in the key message is to get the messages to the community.
Exactly, and one of them doing that is by having this film itself, Giving Life.
Yep.
Now, I believe this is why you guys decided to fund for this particular film itself, and I believe there are other projects that you've been involved with, Professor.
Thank you very much. That's probably a good lead into,
Yeah.
I guess the next segment might focus on the film. But as a dean, I'm always interested in how do you get important health messages out to the people who need the messages in different ways.
Yeah.
One is to come on radio and I can talk to
Exactly.
everybody about safe motherhood and so on. And it may register and some it may not. So I think
Exactly.
we've got to think in different ways. And a couple of years ago as a college, we ran I thought it was a fantastic competition called MDGs Go Live,
Right.
where we tried to get songwriters to focus on one of the Millennium Development Goals. I read the script. I read the script for this film a couple of years ago, late 2012. I thought this was a fantastic script.
Yeah.
And I'm a keen supporter of creativity in film.
Yeah.
And so it was when the director and the scriptwriter came to see me. You'll be talking to them later.
That's right.
And I
Well, we've
said,
got them on
and they
speakerphone.
said, "Can you support this?" I thought that's fantastic, and I was fortunate enough to have some resources that we get from the Australian government,
Yeah.
former AusAid, to provide support into innovative ways to develop or improve maternal and child health. So we were able to use some of that.
Nice.
And I think the key thing is, this is a fantastic film to me, and the messages that are there,
Yeah.
very clear messages about what's a normal, safe pregnancy, about preventing teenage childbirth, about loving teenagers who might
Yes.
be pregnant, and about recognising danger signs. They're all there.
Oh,
And I think
nice.
it's a very nice script. Again, also to have someone like Savuto write what I think is a fabulous soundtrack for the movie, a fabulous song. To me, I'm just hopeful for any of these projects that it reaches a different audience. Now, whether it's in the vernacular, whether it's English-speaking, whatever, it has to reach a different audience.
And
This
what
is-
better way to reach
yeah.
than through film? Because a lot of people I know love movies, love
Absolutely,
films.
sure.
Yeah. Mrs. Mulidok, have you seen the script itself? What are your thoughts on the script?
I have
Have
not.
they covered all venues?
I have not, but I will see it this Friday.
Okay.
I heard that it is a beautiful movie or script. But another thing that I also want to talk about is a planned pregnancy. That is all about safe motherhood,
Right.
is to have a planned pregnancy. Dina has been talking about teenage pregnancy, a lot of single mothers that are coming. And, planned pregnancy is not only the responsibility of a woman or a girl, it's also a responsibility of the young men and men. Most times we continue to blame the girls and the young girls, But I think the men should also learn how to respect girls and how to respect
Exactly.
women and be responsible for what they want to do so that we can prevent unplanned pregnancy.
Speaking of which, I also read the synopsis on the film, and it actually has focused as well on the unplanned pregnancy, all covered within this movie.
Okay, very nice,
Yeah.
certainly. That's one thing that we really want to look at.
Seraphina, I
Exactly.
think you're right, and Alameda is going to love the movie.
I'm sure she will.
There are three main male characters,
Yeah.
and people are going to really
Relate
love
with them.
one, relate to the second, and will not be happy with the third one. And that person represents a part of male society
That's
that
right,
needs to
that's
take
right.
greater responsibility.
Exactly.
I won't give too much away.
Of course. But you know what? This will just tease them a bit
Yes.
with this. But yes, like I mentioned, you've also been involved in other projects, like you said, through art as well as. Have you noticed what the feedback has been? Have they been able to grasp the message through these platforms?
I think most of the projects that we've been involved in, myself and Peter Zappelli, who's one of my great supporters in the college, have been, I think they're fantastic.
Yeah.
And we've been running projects. A couple of years ago, we ran a project with young disadvantaged people using throwaway rubbish from the hospital, which
Right.
they turned into artistic pieces.
Yeah.
And that was fantastic for them. Last year, we had, I thought it was a brilliant exhibition called Sakota.
Yes, we had that featured as well. on Speak Your Mind.
And I think the artistic pieces, the variety, were incredibly powerful messages about preventing non-communicable diseases. We do need to evaluate what the impact is, but I kind of jokingly say to people, white-haired Anglo-Saxon professors telling people to do this or that isn't necessarily the best way to get messages out.
Right, right.
And my experience in the Pacific, in Fiji, is that people love art, music, dance, creativity. So I say, let's have a go and see if we can get messages out using that form.
Exactly. And then this is one that I'm sure a lot of you will be looking forward to. It's the movie Giving Life. Now, have you directly been involved with the film itself, or have you just always been in the background?
As I said, I read the script. I thought the script was fantastic, and I wanted to support the filmmakers to make it. I'm very keen and enthusiastic about supporting local Fijian creative people, so it was great to support the filmmakers. They called me the executive producer.
Oh, there you go.
But then I discovered that all that means is that I provided the funding for the movie. And I can tell you, Carolyn and I have seen the movie now 3 or 4 times.
Right.
And Carolyn and I have seen it through twice, and we provided some comments. But other than that, I'm just a great supporter. I think it's a great movie, and I'm looking forward to people coming enjoying this, and particularly the messages.
Of course. And we'll have some of the characters as well as the director and the writer himself will be featured in our next segment. Until then, thank you so much, Professor, for joining us. And Mrs. Bulidoko, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Yes.
We've got our third segment coming up. Don't go anywhere. This is Speak Your Mind. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind, our third segment for today. And like we mentioned, we're talking talking about this new film production that will be launched on Friday. We had this film is actually an initiative from the Safe Motherhood campaign, the White Ribbon. And we've got with us the director behind the film itself. We've got the writer, Mr. Ash Khan, and we've also got Rajneel Prasad, who's the director-producer. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Yep. Thank you, Serafina, for having us in the show.
No worries. Well,
Thank you
big
very much.
project.
Yep.
Yeah, how has it? What was the production like for you? What was the time frame? How long did it take? And how was the whole process?
Oh, well, thank you. Actually, a Bright Feature Film, our production company, we started the journey for this film in last year, May, when I received the script
Right.
from my colleague, Ashfaq. So, as a producer, I had to go through the script, and actually I was really keen and I was really interested to produce this film. And then we had a meeting with Ian Rose, Dr. Ian Rose, and then we did a full-on proposal, and we presented the script to him. Whereas both of us, we went to have a meeting with Ian, and then he approved it. Actually, he really loved the script.
Yeah.
And then what we did is, after all the approvals were done, and then the major stuff was like casting. That was a major challenge that both of us we had. We were also the casting directors for the film.
Nice.
We had a full audition. We had about 300 people came for the auditions, and there was a lot of calls, and also on Facebooks, and also emails, and we did advertising for it.
Right.
We did the audition. That was the toughest part.
I'm sure it was.
To selecting the correct character to actually play. Where Ashfaq, as a writer, that he wanted a exact candidate to actually play a certain role.
Exactly.
And then once we finalized our actors, and then both of us, we had to train all our actors. So they were all trained.
Right.
There was about 2 months of full-on rehearsals and trainings, and that was all done. And then the camera started rolling, and then I had a very good production crew. Which my camera crew, my sound team.
All local guys?
everybody's all local. For me, as a filmmaker, a Fijian filmmaker, I believe that I would like to promote all my film industry, my film industry in Fiji, and also would like to train and build the local talents here.
Exactly.
So that's what I've done. And also Ashfaq was one of my great support. And also my assistant director who has been behind me and supporting me and also giving me ideas of what to do, John Tausere.
Right.
He's also one of the major partner for Bright Feature Films.
Nice.
And my assistant director for Giving Life. He has done a fantastic job. He's also the chief editor for this film, who has basically looking after all the technical side of the films. That's the main thing. As a writer, he'll be like putting on the paper. I'm going to visualizing it, and then
they'll produce it.
The sounds team, whereas John comes in to put in more flavor into it, and it gives you the final product that you'll see in the cinemas.
Exactly. Well, originally, Ashfaq, you had written this in 2012. Or was it 2011?
Probably around 2011.
All right.
Yeah.
What was the idea behind it? Did you write the script with the whole initiative in your mind at the time?
No, the idea is very simple, actually.
Right.
My wife and I, we got pregnant, and like any
So it was a
anxious,
personal,
it was more of a personal thing.
Yeah.
Like any anxious father-to-be, I took my wife immediately to the clinic.
Right, right.
I thought that was a smart thing to do.
Exactly.
But once I got there, I saw a lot of women who were at the clinic were already showing. They were either in the 6th month, 7th month,
Yes.
even 8th month. Actually, there was a lady there who had triplets.
Wow.
She had triplets, and she had come for her first clinic
After 8 months.
on her 8th month, and found out that she was going to have triplets.
Wow.
So I asked the doctor over there if we were early.
Yeah.
They told me, no, you were probably one of the few people who came on
come
time.
early,
who
exactly.
came on time, and this is a very big issue. So that sort of
It is.
got the idea running in my head, and so I just added a few other things to it, and the script happened.
Nice. Did you ever see this being produced, though? Did you ever see this, like making it into a film?
Well, I hoped it would be produced. So, I write a lot of things, and screenwriting is a definite hobby, and I've got a lot of scripts lying at home at the moment, waiting for production. So we were lucky that Professor Ian Rouse agreed to fund this film. When he read the script some 2 years ago, he loved the script,
Exactly.
and he told me he told us when we were going to do this, and unfortunately at that time we were not ready.
Yeah.
So now at the point we were ready, we got a fantastic team to work on it. We have a great director. We have great crew, great lot of actors. I was really, really happy with the actors. I'm very fussy with the people who act in what I write.
Right.
And it turned out that we got a beautiful set of actors.
right.
Like we had,
And they basically put all your ideas and everything that you wanted out of those characters in the film itself.
they actually did one better. They added.
Wow, there you go.
They did everything I wanted them to do, and they added to it.
And more.
And that made the movie. Everybody practically. What I loved about all the actors is everybody owned their roles.
Nice.
They lived the part, and
Yeah.
they lived and breathed the part, and it translated on screen very well.
Nice. And if you just join us, we'll have the actors coming in the next segment, so stay with us. Now, also you mentioned about the behind the scenes, like everything was locally done. You used all these local locations.
Yes. For this film, Ashfaq and I, apart from directing and him writing the film, we did the casting for the cast.
Right.
I looked after all the makeup and dress up side as well, which was also
So a lot of multitasking going on.
Yeah, absolutely,
it was
absolutely.
also a nightmare for us as well.
I'm
We had
sure.
to go out, meet all the local designers and get consultations of
Yeah.
how to put up makeup on them and what makeup they should apply on. And also we did get a few supports from people that
Right.
who were keen to be part of this film. So what we did is once everything was all done, so we did a mock on how they're going to look when you're going to apply this makeup on them. As a filmmaker, for me, I'm very particular of what my actors wear and the appearance.
Exactly.
It depending scene by scene.
Yeah.
The most the most important scene that we did was a hospital scene where the characters are giving birth.
Yeah, the
So
delivery scene.
the
that
The
was-
delivery
delivery
scene.
scene, that
Oh my
was-
gosh, that's always any film.
Yeah.
It's
And-
always the
yeah.
most intense
So
one.
For me, what I had to do is I had to do a lot of research. I have to watch a lot of videos on YouTube and stuff before I went for the shoot
So
next day.
is it safe to say you become an expert on deliveries
Oh, well.
Well,
No.
from all your research?
Well, after writing this film, I joked to my wife that I could deliver our next one.
I know it's always the case.
Yeah, and we got a lot of help as well from gynecologist Dr. Pushpa. She's actually a part of the movie. She's playing a doctor in
one of
the
the
film.
characters.
She helped us a great deal setting up the delivery room, and the delivery room looks
exactly like the delivery room would do.
Looks pretty authentic.
Okay, well, all right. The big launch coming up on Friday. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we are really thankful to Damodar City for giving us a venue for this launch. It's going to be one of the Fiji's first film to be launched, a red carpet launched at Damodar City.
Nice.
So we're all excited about it. It's the red carpet will open at 6 p.m. And
it's invites only.
It's only invites only.
Okay.
But later on, FBC TV might going to play this on their network. And also there has been a great support from FBC. We'd like to thank FBC for that.
Thank you.
And also our other partners that have been supporting us for this film. Without them and without FBC, this project wouldn't be possible of what is it right now.
Of course.
And I personally believe that for a local film, we are doing a great marketing for this film.
Of course.
Because it's a very great initiative for this film. Yeah.
Exactly.
So coming back to the launch, the launch is on this Friday. The red carpet will start at 6 p.m. and then we'll have the formalities will go on, and the screening of the film will be starting at 7.
Okay.
And then straight after that, there will be a cocktail event, and then all the actors are free. So everybody, each and every character in this film, it was a great teamwork.
Right.
All of us have worked extremely hard, and everybody has contributed.
And we'll all see that when the movie comes out.
When the movie comes out.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining us.
Thank
We've got the
you.
characters still to come, so stay with us, Speak Your Mind. We're heading into a break, but we'll be back with more.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Speak Your Mind. Now, as mentioned before, Giving Life is a film production that will be launched this Friday, and it is a Safe Motherhood initiative, also funded by the Ministry of Health of the Fiji National University. Now, we've also got with us the actors in that film itself. We've got Alan Stevens, our very own Alan Stevens, and of course, Vilumaina Wango Noko Noko. Now, Alan, I believe, plays the role of Ryan.
Yes, that's me.
And we've got Vilumaina, who plays the role of Anna.
That's right.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about your roles in the film.
Well, my role is Anna. She's a very humble, caring young woman. She's also a housewife, and apart from that, she works with as a housemaid.
Right.
So Anna's role is that it's more of in the movie she has the miscarriage.
Okay.
She's the one that goes through a lot, and it's very challenging for her. And when she lost the baby, I guess her whole world came crashing down.
Yeah. And Alan.
For Ryan, my role as Ryan, I'm the typical island dad.
Okay.
I dote a lot on my wife, but I have no idea what's going on.
Right.
In the movie, I basically provide the comic relief.
Okay.
So in between the messages, the serious messages of safe motherhood, I'm supposed to be there to make people laugh.
Okay.
So that's basically what Ryan does in the movie. If you watch the movie when it comes out, you'll probably just laugh at the parts that I play.
All right.
Which is what I like, because you take something really serious, like a topic really serious, like safe motherhood and getting people educated on it. And, I basically provide the smiles.
Okay. Well, how has this been? I mean, with the message being safe motherhood behind the film itself, what has that experience been for you? Making the film and then also outside, like in your personal life. Have you kind of grasped the importance of safe motherhood, Vilumaina?
I've never thought of safe motherhood as a very important issue. And I always think, okay, maybe they got the miscarriage. Okay, that's their fault. And I leave it there.
Yeah.
I guess I was a bit heartless towards that. But after actually taking part in the movie, and I just want to say it was a great opportunity, I saw that it is just more than an issue. It deals with emotions, especially when you lost a baby. And I guess that safe motherhood is really important in our nation. Yes.
Okay, Ryan, excuse me. Alan, what about you?
For me, I saw something in the movie that I can relate to, because I have a daughter.
Yeah.
And when my wife was pregnant, she used to get a lot of advice from aunties, and you know how they tell you about massaging your stomach and all that herbal stuff that you have to take. So watching this movie and being a part of it, I learned the importance of going to your doctor.
Right.
Because the thing I noticed, especially with island families, is you trust your aunties because, for one, you related to them.
Exactly.
And for another, because you see they have a lot of kids, you take what they say as like gospel, you know?
Yeah.
Which in this movie you will see, and you'll see the disadvantage of doing that.
Right.
So for me, I learned, and something that I hope everybody learns from the movie is, as much as you can, if you are pregnant or if you're expecting a child, see the doctor. Because there's no advice like the one you get from a doctor, you know?
Exactly,
So-
a medical expert.
So that's something I learned from this movie. Because there's a lot of these things that are happening in most families that I know of. They listen to their aunties, their moms who give them advice. Some really wild out there advice too, based on, you know, traditional medicine. And so this movie, I think the message to all of you, all of the people that watch it is, as much as you can, go and see a doctor. You know, there's also some fear too, especially for new parents, that they'll get bad news. You know, if they're scared to do that, so they try and avoid it. So for me, the movie is about that. You know, if you're expecting a child and you're a new parent, see a doctor.
Exactly.
The best advice you can get is from a medical professional, not the medical professional you have at home.
The witch doctors. But yes, Wilhelmina, for you as a young woman and having done this movie as well, did you have to, were there certain instances in the movie that related to you, maybe from experiences or even from family members?
I guess, yes, from family members. I've really learned a lot from the movie. I've witnessed many miscarriages within our family, and I thought that, okay, it just deals that you're losing the baby, you can always make another one. But I never
Yeah.
thought how emotional it would get,
Exactly.
how it would be, it caused a lot of pain. And from this movie, actually, if I do plan to become a future mother, I've learned a lot. And like Ryan said, I am going to see the doctor maybe when I'm 2 weeks or 3 weeks pregnant.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. How has the process been acting in a local film? I mean, I know with Alan, it's probably an everyday thing. But for you, Wilhelmina, like, how has it been for you? Have you always been someone that's always out there? Have you always thought of acting in a film?
Well, actually, no.
So was it a challenge?
It was really a challenge, especially to play a woman who was pregnant. And
Yeah.
I've never felt the pregnancy role first. So what
Right.
I thought was that, okay, maybe I love watching movies.
Yeah.
So I saw the role, and so I started watching all these movies concerning women that are pregnant
Right.
and even the miscarriage. And also Gargar Kelly, I learned a lot, especially the emotions.
Right.
So from learning from that and also taking part in church productions,
Yeah.
I guess I was able to play the role really well.
Nice. Like, well, I remember the writer said that you guys owned the roles. I mean, like, the characters that you had
He
to
did?
play. Yeah, he did, actually. Well, maybe not so much you, but yeah, he did actually say that. So I think this is really good. This is the first time for you, Wilhelmina.
Yes, this is the first
And
time.
Alan, I believe you've done other films as well?
Yes,
Short
yes.
films, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, kudos to you guys having to play these characters and serious characters. Must have been a challenge for you. I mean, I know your character also plays a bit of a comical person, but how has it been as a father in the film? I mean, I know you're already a father, but how was it for you personally?
I think the hardest thing that I had to work on was the chemistry.
Yeah.
Because the actress that plays my wife in the movie is also the wife of the writer.
Okay.
So in some instances, you have to be intimate,
yeah.
but it's really hard when the husband is standing there and he's the one telling you to like hug her, you know, hold her close.
Right, right.
It becomes a bit weird on the
Right,
set whenever
right.
we shoot. So the movie was good. I had a lot of talented actors in it as well. Which surprised me because like I said, I've done movies before, short films,
Yeah.
nothing major. But these guys, when they came in, I had to learn from them because they were
Right.
really good.
Of course.
I learned how to cry from her.
See, so you did a lot of research watching Gargar Kelly.
Yes, I think so.
But anything else apart from how long did it take? Did it affect your schedule with school or maybe with work?
I had to do this shoot in the weekends because that's when I get my days off. So
Okay.
most of my days off were at shooting.
All right. And for you, Wilhelmina?
The shootings were done last year, so I had to shift it in with my busy schedule with work and school.
So they were able to...
They were able, I think, Raj, he was able to fit everything in, and that was really awesome.
Well, that's what you get for good directing, I guess. But yes, once again, thank you so much for joining us. We might now have Reshma Lal coming up next. She's also one of the actors in the film who's also be sitting there in with Alan Stevens. But Vilamena, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you, Fiona.
We're heading into a break. If you just joined us once again, you're on Speak Your Mind. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind, our fifth and final segment for the show, and we're joined by one of the other actors on the show, Miss Reshma Lal, and we're also joined with Professor Ian Rouse. Once again, just letting you know a little bit more about what's to come Friday, and also just a little bit more on safe motherhood and more important messages behind it. Now, Reshma, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, tell us a little bit more about your character.
My character is called Sylvia, and married to Ryan, who interviewed just before
Alan.
me. And our role in the movie, it's a very intense message. Safe motherhood is very intense, and our role basically is to create the light mood in the movie. We are like a normal couple who would argue, who would talk about things, and who would take things lightly and seriously at the same time.
Right.
So we take motherhood, our pregnancy very seriously. We go to the doctor on time. We do our pregnancy test, and we do all the things right. So our character in the movie does all the thing right, and our message is for all the first-time parents or parents basically to do things right from day one.
Exactly.
So my role as Sylvia is to tell the audience that you have to go and see the doctor on time, you have to do things right, and the importance of your partner, involving your partner in this journey is also very important.
Yeah, I believe this has been personal for you as well, seeing as your first child, you also had to go through the same thing.
Yes.
All right. Tell us a little bit more about that as well. Like, apart from what your husband would mention was that when you did go the first time, not everyone was there at the time they were supposed to make it to the doctors.
Yes, thank you. In that movie, one of our personal experiences is added to it is when we go to the doctor. We went when we were like 6 weeks pregnant only.
Right.
And when we went to the scan room, and they were like women who were about 8 or almost 9 months pregnant, and that was their first time that they visited the clinic. And to us, we were like, okay, we shouldn't be here. This is too early. And we were discussing that. And that is something that is also shown in the movie as well. And we were embarrassed. Actually, I was actually embarrassed because everyone was showing, and I'm like sitting normal
with
there.
a flat stomach.
So that moment, I think that's when the scriptwriter, my husband, the idea formulated in his head that this is a very important message that should go out to all the women out there. And we had a beautiful experience in our pregnancy. The midwife, the doctor, the nurses, everyone was very supportive. But we also saw that the information was not there. If you wanted something, we had to go on the net and research. Because you have very limited time with your doctor, with your nurses, and with the pressure, they can't give you all that information that you need as first-time parents.
Exactly. And Mr. Rouse, I believe this is what how the Safe Motherhood Initiative also came about. And like you mentioned, reading the script for the first time, did you relate to it?
The thing that really excited me about the script is that so many of the important messages were fitted into 3 intertwined stories in a script which is just over 20 minutes. And when you see it, you'll understand what I mean. So it's fantastic. But I can say Sylvia's character is fantastic. She does a brilliant job. But there's one scene which is between her and the other lady who's pregnant in the school room, which is absolutely fantastic, and I guess showing the importance of women, young women in this case. So I think the exciting thing to me was the script, which covered so many messages.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a bit of humour. with Sylvia and her husband, which is okay, that's good. But there's so many important messages. I mean, if you kind of had a whiteboard and listed all of the key messages, you'd fill the whiteboard up.
Exactly. That is so true with your experience, because I also experienced it with my first pregnancy. Because, with me, it's the first pregnancy, I wanted to be safe. So I went when I was just like 2 weeks, I think it was a month, 4 weeks along. So when I did go, like you mentioned, yes, there were a lot of women there that was past their 8th month. And I'm asking them, is this your first clinic or you're sick? And they're like, yeah, first clinic. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you leave it this late? They're like, oh, this is my third child.
Yes.
That mentality is my third child. It's okay. And I know what to expect. But the fact that, not everyone is safe so you need to make it to the hospital at the first thing. So this is really good. I think this will relate to a lot of women and also men as well. But before we wrap up, we're slowly wrapping up the show. Mr. Rouse, any last words regarding the White Ribbon Initiative?
I think the White Ribbon Initiative is really fortunate that we've got this film that's been produced by Fijians, local Fijians, which I think is fantastic and can be used to basically pass the messages out in Fiji and maybe even in the Pacific region about the importance of safe motherhood and the importance of, taking good care of mothers to be. I think that's a great. And to be honest, I mentioned earlier, the director Raj has obviously a long-standing positive relationship with Savuto, and to have Savuto write, which is absolutely amazing song. I think so many people are going to be impressed by that as well. So I'm just delighted that I've been able to help in a small way and participate, which is a fantastic project.
Thank you so much. And once again, thank you very much for being here, Reshma and Professor. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if you just joined us, you're on Speak Your Mind. We're actually wrapping up this Monday. Until next week, you have a pleasant day.